One of the things I remember most fondly about Duane is that when the CIRM meetings were in Irvine or LA, he and I would drive up together. So we were in, LA traffic talking, and we didn't mind at all. We would just talk for hours about everything, about science, about sports, about everything. And it made my day. I mean, I didn't begrudge the drive because I was going to do it with Duane. And it was just really fun. It was really a privilege. I'm going to miss it terribly.
There's a few words that come to mind when I think of Duane. One of them is, first of all, a gentleman. I think he epitomized what a gentleman is.
He was certainly a very generous person and a very kind person and a very thoughtful person. So you'd want to be friends with someone like that.
He just had an ease about him, and he was just very comfortable in his own skin, and he just made everyone feel really good about what they were doing.
His thoughtful and gracious manner in the face of adversity or debate was a tremendous value to the board.
He treated everyone with kindness and respect, and I think that more than anything is what came through.
Duane was really an amazing friend, colleague, mentor and confidant to me personally and to so many other people here in San Diego.
Duane would always be the voice of reason who would sort of step in and try to say, guys, let's step back. Here's your point of view, here's your point of view, let's find common ground, this is how I think it should be, and very frequently his point of view ultimately prevailed.
This is someone who was not trained as a scientist, but took this on as a passion that he wanted to improve science, improve biomedical care, and long-term improve the health of the people of California and beyond.
Early on, Duane really recognized the need to get industry involved.
At times, expressing frustration that we didn't have more money that was allocated out to industry. How could we do that? Should we do an industry-only RFA? What are the things that would actually make it happen?
You could always tell when he responded to an issue that he was coming from a position of knowledge and understanding and experience. And so everybody listened.
He was the glue that sort of held a lot of us together. So we needed, with the board of 29 people, you would hope there's some of those kind of people there, and he was really one of the best.
He truly projected what he believes in. There was no hidden agenda.
And just felt very comfortable asking him anything. I wanted to ask him about the research or the science or biotech as an industry, and he was just so kind and compassionate.
He always was able to zoom in succinctly, dissect whatever the issue was, get to the crux of it, give you advice, finish the conversation, and then move on to the next thing he was doing. But in the process, you felt like you were the only person that he was dealing with.
That level of integrity and consistency that he had is something that even if you disagree completely on some of his ideas on things, you love that. That was something that you're like, okay, I'm going to make my arguments and my point of view well because I know how Duane's going to counter. And that really enriched the discussion at the board and helped us lead to much better and fruitful results.
People don't suspect that a guy like Duane Roth would be so supportive of diversity, and yet he was. And he was very, very supportive of the Bridges program and the Creativity Awards program, because he really was attached to young people. And I think that the charities that he was involved in San Diego, the ones that he and his wife participated in, always had an emphasis on those less able to fight for themselves, or people that were challenged, or people that needed a little extra help.
When you would hear him talk about things, when he would say, Lynn, I'm from a farm in Iowa, and you'd be like, I don't believe you, Duane. I don't see you on a farm.
My first impression is that Duane was so dapper. So he was completely dressed to the nines, had on his suit and his tie.
I was always incredibly impressed, and I remember saying to Karen, don't you think I should take a lesson from Duane? She said, absolutely, but I know you won't.
He was a serious person, and yet had a wonderful personality and way about him that, the way he dressed, the way he carried himself. He was a Renaissance man in so many ways.
Duane loved science, and he loved San Diego. He was convinced that we could put together a consortium that would represent all the intellectual power on the Torrey Pines Mesa in order to make a really great stem cell consortium and stem cell facility. And it was his force of personality that made it happen.
It's not always natural for research institutes or universities who compete for same research dollars to work really together, but he's a person who really finds value in collaboration and pushes people to work together, and at the end, I think the sum will be more than the parts.
The last 2 weeks, we've had, I can't even count the number of times we're talking about one issue or another, and somebody will say something like, well, Duane said this about that. Duane said that we should go this direction. Duane said this is the important thing here. And it was like, you know, Duane's still here. This is Duane, part of everyday CIRM business.
God, I miss him. I really do. I miss his advice. I miss his friendship.
I think the hardest part is that Duane was a really kind man. He was a good person. And I think that's why everyone is so really upset.
I miss him terribly because you don't often find people there that you can talk to really about both your work and your own personal issues with such comfort.
Duane didn't wear his heart on his sleeve, but when you asked him questions about things he was interested in, you would just see his face light up.
Somebody mentioned this in Duane's memorial service, that Duane would not be Duane without Renee. I think they were just an amazing relationship and friendship, partnership that the two of them had, and certainly something that I'm sure Renee will cherish for the rest of her life.
There's few people in the world you meet sometimes where they leave you with an essence of who they really are and what they can give to anybody as a friend and a colleague, and I'll miss that.